And welcome to Let's Fly VFR. Today we're heading out in the all-powerful F-15 Eagle, and this is one of a number of tests that I'm doing on turn performance. So as you can see, we're going to be doing this one at 200 knots, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450 and maybe 500. So this is a bit of a slow speed turn, so you can see how well you might sneak around the corner if you're forced into a very low speed fight. So the angle of attack sitting up there about 12, 13, 1.5 G, not very much, and where our turn rate is pretty abysmal at 5, 6, maybe I think we get up to about 8 degrees per second. So you can see the whole thing. I've tried to coordinate it and line everything up so you can see it as I do. And no, it's always a big argument on the forums about turn rates and EM diagrams. There's the energy management diagrams. They're supposed to give you the performance, and there's so many variations they can never be 100% right, so it's always down to the situation. So we're going to turn around here because those hills are a bit close, and I'm trying to maintain this about 2 to 2,000 feet, and then we use 180 as our reference point, and we'll do maybe just one circuit around. If there's any points where I feel that the flight wasn't done very well, I might do a second flight around the circle again before we move on. So we're going to line up ourselves and we're going to head into 250 knots. Keep an eye on the turn rate as we start our turn in a moment. Coming around, okay, we're going to get settled, power, just trying to balance the back stick against the power and keeping the speed. You can see we're vibrating a bit, so we're already buffeting. Turn rate 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, just flicked into 18, so that's the peak. It's really challenging to do this, guys. If you're not sure about what I'm doing, or you don't believe the results, that's certainly fine. Feel free to go out and try yourself. Just fly around in a circle. Now these things are started off at full fuel loads and no weapons, so that's where we are. It's not probably super accurate because you'd have some missiles and things on, which will give you some drag. But let's move on to 300 knots. Okay, we're getting the stick back, we're getting the balance on the power and just trying to maintain it. There'll be a little bit of backward and forwards on the power and the stick, just trying to maintain that at 4G, where it's just over 16 degrees per second there at that speed band. Bit hard to maintain it there. It is a little all over the place, and we'll roll out on our heading again. Next one up, we're going to head up to 350 knots, so we'll just get a power on. Now I'll have the charts and everything at the end, guys, so you can have a look at the whole breakdown as we turn left into 350 knots, and we're pulling back hard, more power, a bit more speed. It does like it about here. I normally like about 350 to 380 knots. But you could spend all day here doing each 10 knot separation, and that's not really going to be that helpful. So we hit 16 there for a second. 15 is pretty much the average, so that's pretty consistent. I would write down 15, and I have done so, because that was mostly 15 and the 16 might have been just a slight excursion. So up to 400 knots. Let's see how we do at 400 knots, guys. Left turn, power, back stick, G's, alright, G's getting up, well just over 6 G's now, 15 degrees I saw so far, 16, 17, okay, just peaked at 17 there, 15, 16 seems pretty consistent, but I saw 17, so I've written that down for the moment, so that gives us a bit of a guide. Now we can head up and do 450 knots. See whether this gets any better. It's been fairly consistent though, 250 knots seems to have the biggest turn rate. Quite surprised at 250 knots you can get 18 degrees per second. Okay, I guess that's the big wings and low altitude. Alrighty, let's get the stick back and power up. G's are climbing now, we're getting a little bit higher up in the band. Seeing 17, 16, 17 there pretty consistently. The G's come back on again, back up it goes into the 16s, high 15s, and around we go. We'll get around the corner pretty quickly, so that's not bad. And right, last one. Let's go out and do 500 knots. Should be able to maintain max G's on this one, I would imagine. Quite surprised we couldn't do it at 450, but it just didn't seem to want to deliver that. As always, remember to visit letsflyvfr.com, and if you haven't subscribed, love to have you on board. YouTube tells me about 97% of you guys and girls out there are not subscribed, so that'd be awesome if you could. So just saw 18 peak there, 17, 18. So there we go. We've got measly 8 at 200, 18 at 250, 16 degrees at 300, 350, 15, 400, 17, 450, 17, and 500 we made 18. So that's the published graph, and the black lines are what I achieved. So you can see the high points there, and that was finishing at 500 knots. So to give you something to compare and have a look at. I was pretty surprised though. It's not really very close to the original. And again, here's all your data here. So feel free to stop and check it out if you would like. Let me know in the comments below whether you were able to fly a more consistent and maybe better rate around the circle. Love to hear from you. I'll catch you back here at Let's Fly VFR again real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.